What is going on, everyone? I am so pumped and so ready for this Sixers game tonight. But before that all happened, we had the draft, and now it is fully completed here. Day 3 is finished. I love what we did in the first day. I love what we did in the second day. And now we have the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round to cover. And let's start this off with what we did in the 4th round. Shareef Miller, defensive end from Penn State, 6'4", 225. I think he is going to need a little bit more time than just be this legitimate star, but we're going to add him to the rotation, let him do his thing. He had 7.5 sacks last year, 14.5 in his first 3 years, along with 31.5 tackles for loss in those 3 years as well. Last year, he was the co-defensive player of the year for Penn State, and it just adds a young player to this core of defensive ends, and with him and Barnett and Brandon Graham, hopefully we can get some flow going here. And you obviously have guys like Vinny Curry coming back to the mix. Like I mentioned before, I don't know where we are when it comes to Chris Long, so we're going to have to wait and see how that all plays out. But my guess and my gut feeling is he's not going to be here. So we add Shareef Miller to the mix, and he's a diehard Eagles fan. He cried when they won the Super Bowl, so when he found out he was coming to the Birds, dream come true for this kid, and it's truly special. And I know it sounds silly, but hopefully that is something that is just inside of him, fuels him, because he's dreamed his entire life coming out to the link and seeing the fireworks and seeing the crowd and hearing the crowd. And sometimes people thrive off that. Sometimes kids who get a chance to live out their reality and live out their dream, they have this extra sort of passion and fire in them, and hopefully we see it out of him, because I think he has talent. I believe he's still a little raw to be lethal at the NFL level. We're going to have to see how he develops. I just think at that time, there was one person I would have liked to grab up instead of Miller, and that would have been Mack Wilson. I would have loved to get Mack Wilson there, Alabama linebacker. I know they don't value the linebacker, obviously, and maybe they have a lot of high hopes for someone like Grugier Hill to step in this year, but I think I would have went that way. I'm not knocking it, though. I think he's a good player. I think he's got good size. I think he's got good speed. I think he's going to be able to fill a role in the rotation, and he's young, and it's not just for, I've mentioned this before, it's not just for this season. What we do, it's for the future as well, how he does things for the future as well, and to get some defensive ends in there that are young like him and Barnett, well, we can kind of build with that moving forward, and it's not just about this year. In the 5th round, we go with a quarterback to develop. And a lot of teams do this. This isn't odd. This isn't out there. So many squads do this. They pick someone late. They pick someone in later rounds. And if they develop them, they see how they go. Maybe they trade them. Maybe it works out. Who knows? But with Carson Wentz being the promised land, so we believe, this is just a developmental piece. And Clayton Thorson from Northwestern, he had a good college career. Big kid. He's 6'4", 225, 61 touchdowns thrown, 27 rushing. The kid can definitely develop into something. I think, though, the one thing that I'm being a little critical on, this wasn't my favorite day, I'll be honest. I love what we did early on, but for a 5th round pick, I still think we could maybe snag some sort of player that maybe could be used over a developmental quarterback. And maybe if we did that in the 7th round, once we traded down, maybe that's where I would have looked. But Doug Peterson, Howie Roseman, I guess they'd rather get a better quarterback to develop at 5 instead of waiting till 7, which it does make sense for the quarterback position, because I would assume that there is a big jump from those 2 rounds. But you take a look at Avonte Maddox and where he got drafted. You take a look at Jalen Mills and where he got drafted. And a 5th round pick, it's not an obnoxiously large chance. It's not this huge opportunity to go out there and grab a huge difference maker. But there are still guys out there for someone who's going to be 3rd string at this point behind Carson, behind whom? Come on, why am I drawing a blank here? I know his name, Nate Sudfeld. I don't know. Maybe I'm nitpicking, but I would have went in another direction. But I understand the logic. Once again, I understand the thought process behind it, so it doesn't crush me. It's not a Giants move where it just doesn't make sense and we're just being stupid. This is normal, and it makes sense. And clearly, I believe that they know what they're doing in regards to the safety position. I know what they're doing, or they know what they're doing in regards to the linebacker position. I don't think they're just not picking these positions without having a game plan mentally, having structure. This is an organization that has structure, that communicates with each other, that are on the same page, that know the roster, that know the future free agency class, that know the future draft class. They're ahead of the game here. So when they don't elect a safety, when they don't elect a linebacker, I have full belief in this organization and the top management that they know the future plans for those positions. So in the 7th, I waited this whole time because I wanted to make one video. I didn't want to do, one on each individual person here for the back end. And I waited this whole time for the 7th round pick, which ended up being traded for a player that is he had 3 years so far in the NFL. He's only 24, defensive tackle, Hassan Ridgeway, and we add more youth to the line. In 2016, he played 16 games and started 5. In 2017, he played 13 games and started 1. And in 2018, he only had 5 games played. But you take a look at how many players actually hit in the 7th round compared to maybe taking a shot on someone like Hassan Ridgeway, who has had experience in this league already, who has played and kind of just taking a chance. Let's be real. At that point, when you're 7th round, you take a chance. You take an opportunity to go out and snag someone. So at the end of the day, when I dissect these 3 picks in the 4th, 5th, and 7th round options that we elected to go with, I'm not a huge fan. I don't hate it either. I'm just not loving. I don't get all giddy and all excited like I did with the 1st round pick, the 2nd round pick, and the other 2nd round pick. I don't feel the same type of giddy for it. But, Miller's a nice piece. I'm not upset about him. It's the same thing with JJ in the 3rd round, in the 2nd round with the 3rd pick. I like him. It's not a knock on him. It was, maybe Mac Wilson was available. Maybe that was another option I would have went with. But that doesn't mean I'm not a fan of Miller or his game or his idea and the concept of what we're going with the defensive ends. I still like that concept. It's clear that the valuing of the linebacker is just not there right now. Or, can they really factor in Grugier Hill to be that much of a difference maker? Now, I don't hate Grugier Hill. I don't. I think he has a really nice role, a really nice spark, and maybe they're expecting him to take a really big jump this season. I do think he has value. He was talking that smack, I remember, before the Cowboys game, and he made a huge play, a huge difference-making play early in that game in Dallas. And, what happened? The referees made one of the worst calls I've ever seen in the National Football League outside of the NFC Championship game, and elected to say that the Eagles didn't jump on that football when there were 5 Eagles on video replay. Oh, don't even remind me. Don't even remind me. But yeah, so in the comment section, I want to hear your thoughts on Miller, defensive end from Penn State with the 4th round pick. What do you think about the 5th round pick? Do you understand the logic? Do you know why you develop quarterbacks like this, taking quarterbacks late? Or would you rather say, screw that, we have our guy in Carson Wentz. Is this guy really going to make that much of a difference to this organization? Do we use that 5th round pick on another option to help this football team now? Would you go out and grab a safety, a linebacker? Hell, another defensive end. Would you have used that in a different spot, or do you like the quarterback of Clayton Thorson, Northwestern, big kid, and kind of develop him and grow him and see what it leads, whether it's a trade later on or whatever the case may be with our quarterback position late? And Hassan Ridgeway. I'm okay with that. I mean, listen, it's slim pick'ems once you get down to the 7th. But overall, as a full-on draft, I like what we did. I can't sit here and say I'm upset about it. No. Let's not get to that type of mindset. There's no reason why you should be upset with this draft. Make sure you leave in the comment down below the whole thing as a whole, the entire draft. How do you feel? But there's no reason to not like it. I think we came up with some really big players. We came up with some pieces that can help this football team win a championship and put ourselves in a great position moving forward. I think we added great high-character guys with good motors. And I always think to myself, when these kids get the call and they hear Philadelphia, it's damn. Like, imagine getting and you take a look around the league, and there's other teams like that. The Pats. When you get a call from the Pats, you think, okay, wow, I can win a Super Bowl my rookie year. The Steelers. Like, there's these teams up at the top where I couldn't imagine getting a phone call and be like, oh my God, Philadelphia. Over a team like, I don't know, the Cincinnati Bengals or something, right? And I'm not knocking them, okay? It's just a different mentality. I don't know. I'm rambling. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Go Sixers. Tonight's the night. Game 1.